Ladies and gentlemen, keep a lookout right ahead. Shortly, we'll approach the Dorniers in a diamond formation.
Dornier's call sign kites are led by Commander Abhinav Handa, Commanding Officer of Indian Naval Air Squadron 311.
भारतीय नौसेना का डॉनियर समुद्र और आसमान में सुरक्षा का एक अटूट प्रहरी है। यह विमान समुद्री क्षेत्र की निगरानी, खोज और बचाव अभियानों तथा तटीय सुरक्षा के लिए विशेष रूप से तैयार किया गया है। आ रहे हैं सटीक उड़ान का शानदार प्रदर्शन डायमंड फॉर्मेशन में डॉनियर्स।
Ladies and gentlemen, look ahead. We can see the three Coast Guard Dornier patrol aircraft in an arrow formation, led by Commandant A. Rashim Kalingal.
भारतीय तटरक्षक के मैरीटाइम रिकनेंसेस डॉनियर जहाज किसी भी आपदा में सबसे पहले पहुंचते हैं। तटरक्षक के आदर्श वाक्य वयम रक्षामः को सार्थक करते हुए आ रहे हैं तीराकार फॉर्मेशन में सीजी डॉनियर्स।
Approaching shortly is the French Navy's Atlantique II, a long-range maritime patrol and reconnaissance aircraft piloted by Lieutenant Matthew Jeffrey. Today, her presence here reflects the strong maritime partnership between India and France.
यह विमान लंबी दूरी तक समुद्र में विमानों और जहाजों की गतिविधियों की निगरानी करने में सक्षम है और इस विमान की उपस्थिति दोनों देशों की नौसेनाओं के घनिष्ठ संबंधों का प्रतीक।
Up next is Indian Navy's latest maritime patrol aircraft, the PATI Poseidon from Indian Naval Air Squadron 312, the Sky Lions, commanded by Captain Akshay Raja. These sophisticated platforms are the frontline anti-submarine patrol aircraft in the Indian Navy today.
देवी और सज्जनों, पीएटाई के संचालन से भारतीय नौसेना की क्षमता में मजबूती आई है और यह देश की सुरक्षा और समृद्धि का प्रतीक बन गया है। रफ्तार भी, रेंज भी, पीएटाई है तैयार अभी।
Ladies and gentlemen, keep your eyes peeled to the skies lest you miss it. The Hawks will zoom past at speeds in excess of 400 kilometers an hour. Ladies and gentlemen, here come the 7 Hawks in an arrowhead formation, led by Captain V.A. Latif, Commanding Officer, Indian Naval Air Squadron 551, the Phantoms. Ladies and gentlemen, keep a lookout for the grand finale, for 5 Black Panthers will approach shortly. And here come the 7 MiG-29K fighter aircraft that operate from Indian naval ship Vikrant, the Black Panthers, led by Captain Abhishek Gawande.
Ladies and gentlemen, the flypast may be over, but on our right, we can see again the floating airfield, Indian naval ship Vikrant. INS Vikrant, the nation's first indigenously built aircraft carrier, was named after her illustrious predecessor that served during the 1971 war. The new Vikrant stands as a living symbol of India's march towards complete technological independence.
Over 76% of the ship's components, from hull steel and cabling to pumps and valves, are sourced from Indian industries. The design came from the Indian Navy's Warship Design Bureau. India is now among the 6 nations in the world that have the ability to construct both aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines. INS Vikrant is more than just a warship. It is a declaration of India's confidence, skill, and sovereignty.
देवियों और सज्जनों, भले ही फ्लाई पास अब समाप्त हो गया हो, लेकिन आपकी दाहिनी ओर भारतीय नौसेना का युद्धपोत आईएनएस विक्रांत आप देख सकते हैं। देश का पहला स्वदेशी विमान वाहक पोत आईएनएस विक्रांत अपने उस महान पूर्व जहाज के नाम पर रखा गया है जिसने 1971 के युद्ध में अपनी वीरता सिद्ध की थी और दुश्मनों के दांत खट्टे किए थे। आज का यह नया विक्रांत आत्मनिर्भर भारत का एक जीवंत प्रतीक है जो पूर्ण तकनीकी स्वतंत्रता की ओर बढ़ते भारत के कदमों को दर्शाता है। इस जहाज के 76% से भी ज्यादा हिस्से, चाहे वो इसकी बॉडी का स्टील हो, केबलिंग हो, पंप या वाल्व हो, सब कुछ भारतीय उद्योगों से ही लिया गया है। इसकी डिजाइन भारतीय नौसेना के वॉरशिप डिजाइन ब्यूरो ने तैयार की है। भारत अब दुनिया के उन 6 देशों में शामिल है जिनके पास एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर और न्यूक्लियर पनडुब्बी दोनों का निर्माण करने की क्षमता है। आईएनएस विक्रांत महज एक युद्धपोत ही नहीं, यह भारत के आत्मविश्वास, कौशल और संप्रभुता का एक बुलंद उद्घोष है।
Every effort is focused towards indigenization across all domains. The Indian Navy's Atmanirbhar Indian Naval Aviation Roadmap, released during Aero India 2025, captures this spirit of a self-reliant Indian naval aviation by 2047.
Going beyond naval platforms, today we are pursuing Atmanirbharta in several critical technologies and niche capabilities like marine propulsion and power generation, artificial intelligence and autonomous platforms, and quantum positioning systems.
युद्धपोतों से आगे बढ़कर आज हम कई महत्वपूर्ण तकनीकों और विशेष योग्यताओं में आत्मनिर्भरता की दिशा में प्रयास कर रहे हैं, जैसे मरीन प्रोपल्शन और पावर जनरेशन, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस और ऑटोनोमस प्लेटफॉर्म्स तथा क्वांटम पोजीशनिंग सिस्टम।
If the seas are becoming India's growth engine, technology is undoubtedly its steering mechanism. In this context, the Indian Navy is not just an enabler, but an active contributor to India's national technological capacity.
यदि समुद्र भारत की विकास के इंजन बन रहे हैं, तो टेक्नोलॉजी इसका संचालन तंत्र बनती जा रही है। इस संदर्भ में भारतीय नौसेना सिर्फ एक सहायक शक्ति नहीं है, बल्कि भारत की राष्ट्रीय तकनीकी क्षमता में सक्रिय योगदान करता भी है।
And now, after having seen warships and aircraft, let us look underwater into the enigmatic world of the sentinels of the deep, the Indian naval submarine arm. They are shrouded by a strange sense of mystery, thanks to their invisibility. Soon, we shall witness a mobile column by these masters of the underwater world.
The first submarine in the mobile column today is Indian naval submarine Shankul, a Shishumar-class diesel-electric attack submarine. Designed for stealth, endurance, and precision, INS Shankul operates as a frontline SSK. She is commanded by Commander Praveen Kumar Akela.
यह पनडुब्बी पोत रोधी युद्ध पनडुब्बी रोधी अभियान और खुफिया जानकारी एकत्र करने सहित विविध प्रकार के अभियानों को अंजाम देने में सक्षम है। आईएनएस संकुल का आदर्श वाक्य है वयम अद्यम वयम निर्भय, अर्थात हम अजय हैं, हम निर्भय हैं।
With humble beginnings in 1967 through the induction of Foxtrot-class submarines, the Indian submarine arm gradually moved on to the Sindhu Ghosh, Shishumar and Kalvari-class submarines, while also building strategic assets. If warship building could be termed as a complex activity, the degree of complexity only rises manifold when it comes to submarine construction, for it demands the highest standards of quality in workmanship.
The next submarine that you see is Indian naval submarine Sindhu Kirti, commanded by Commander Ajit Jacob, a Kilo-class submarine of the Indian Navy. She represents stealth, endurance, and lethal precision. Silent in presence, powerful in action, INS Sindhu Kirti remains a steadfast protector of the nation's seas.
सिंधु कीर्ति का क्रेस्ट किलर वेल से प्रेरित है, जो इसके साइलेंट किलर होने की विशेषता को दर्शाता है। अपने नाम को सार्थक करते हुए सिंधु कीर्ति के आदर्श वाक्य हैं बलम शौर्य कीर्ति। देवियों और सज्जनों, फॉक्सट्रॉट श्रेणी की पनडुब्बियों के प्रारंभ से भारतीय पनडुब्बी शाखा ने धीरे धीरे सिंधु घोष, शिशुमार और कलवेरी श्रेणी की पनडुब्बियों तक अपनी यात्रा तय की। यदि युद्धपोत निर्माण को एक जटिल प्रक्रिया माना जाए, तो पनडुब्बी निर्माण की जटिलता कई गुना अधिक होती है, क्योंकि इसमें कारीगरी और गुणवत्ता के सर्वोच्च मानकों की आवश्यकता होती है।
Approaching us is the third submarine of the column and the last vessel to be reviewed by the Honorable President of India today. Indian Naval Submarine Sindhu Kesari. She is commanded by Commander Jijo Mohan. Her name means the Lion of the Ocean, a fitting tribute to her predatory gaze and silent dominance beneath the waves.
सिंधु केसरी की एक प्रमुख विशेषता है टॉर्पीडो ट्यूब्स के माध्यम से जल के भीतर रहते हुए सतह पर मार करने वाली मिसाइलों को दागने की।
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the historic International Fleet Review 2026, a memorable day indeed.
देवियों और सज्जनों, अब समय आ गया है इस ऐतिहासिक इंटरनेशनल फ्लीट रिव्यू 2026 से विदा लेने का। आज का दिन हमारे इतिहास के पन्नों में हमेशा के लिए दर्ज हो गया है। वाकई एक बेहद यादगार दिन।
On this historic occasion, Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, Param Vishisht Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, Nausena Medal, will now felicitate Srimati Draupadi Murmu, the Honorable President of India.
इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर पर एडमिरल दिनेश के त्रिपाठी परम विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल, अति विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल, नौसेना मेडल, नौसेना प्रमुख अब भारत की माननीय राष्ट्रपति श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू को स्मृति चिन्ह भेंट करेंगे।
In a short while, Srimati Draupadi Murmu, the Honorable President of India, will address the ships and the guests participating in the fleet review.
कुछ ही क्षणों में भारत की माननीय राष्ट्रपति श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू फ्लीट रिव्यू में भाग ले रहे जहाजों और अतिथियों को संबोधित करेंगी।
Governor of Jharkhand, Andhra Pradesh, Sri Justice S. Abdul Nazir ji, Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sri N. Chandrababu Naidu ji, Union Minister Sri Ram Mohan Naidu ji, Deputy Chief Minister Sri Ponidala Pawan Kalyan ji, Chief of the Naval Staff, Admiral Dinesh
and
Tripathi,
the Honorable President of India, the Supreme Commander of Indian Armed Forces, is addressing the officers and other ranks of INS Sumedha and
officers and sailors of the Indian Navy and friendly foreign navies. Ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar. I feel very happy after witnessing the impressive fleet of warships and the display by naval personnel from India and friendly navies. I express my compliments to each one of you for the professionalism demonstrated by you at this international fleet review. International fleet review reflects unity, trust and respect among nations for maritime traditions. Ships with different flags and sailors from different countries exhibit the spirit of togetherness. The spirit of togetherness is well captured in the theme of this review, United Through Oceans. It is a positive message to the global community that the commitment and result of this collective naval strength can overcome all challenges. India's relationship with the seas has been deep and enduring. For centuries, these oceans have been pathways of commerce, connection, and cultural exchange for India. People enthusiastically celebrate the festival Bali Jatra on voyage of Bali on the banks of Mahanadi in Cuttack during the week starting on Kartik Purnima. This festival is an expression of respect to the ancient sailors from what is now Odisha. It celebrates the tradition of regular sea travel to Southeast Asia for various purposes since the ancient Kalinga Empire. These travels contributed to the spread and exchange of trade and goods, ideas and values, shaping a shared cultural consciousness across region. Vishakapatnam has a glorious maritime past. Today's event underlines the enduring naval significance of Vishakapatnam. This fleet review also takes forward India's vision of Mahasagar, which stands for mutual and historic advancement of security and growth across regions. India's approach to international relations, including the maritime domain, is guided by our ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or the world is one family. This approach reflects the wisdom that global security and growth, sustainability and stability are built through partnerships. This spirit of partnership is the bedrock of an enduring global order. Therefore, India believes that a sound maritime order is based on collective responsibility and cooperative action among like-minded partners. Ladies and gentlemen, The Indian Navy is vigilant in safeguarding India's maritime interest and contributing to stability across the wider maritime commons. Units of the Indian Navy deployed in the region serve as credible instrument of deterrence and defense against threats and challenges arising in the seas. The Indian Navy is often the first responder in times of humanitarian crisis and natural disasters, extending quick assistance with compassion and competence. The Indian Navy also plays a vital role in promoting goodwill and building bridges of trust, confidence, and friendship with navies around the globe. The spirit of friendship on display today through the participation of so many friendly countries highlights the truth that we are connected rather than divided by the seas. On behalf of fellow Indians, I convey warmest feelings of friendship and appreciation to the officers and sailors from friendly foreign navies. You represent the best traditions of your services and your nations. Your discipline, dedication, and competence are the foundations upon which collective maritime security is built. Your presence here has further strengthened our bonds of trust and reaffirmed our shared commitment to peace, stability, and cooperation at sea. The international convergence on display here will promote our common purpose and heritage. I am sure that all the Navy's representatives here will collectively help the oceans thrive as gateways for growth, prosperity, and overall well-being of the global community. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
And the INS Sumedha, which is part of the 4-yacht presidential column today, comprising INS Sumedha, the lead ship, followed by INS Sumitra, INS Savitri, and INS Sukanya, who carried guests who had come for the International Fleet Review 2026.
Well, welcome back to the studio, and that International Fleet Review was a magnificent maritime display where warships, aircrafts and submarines of Indian Navy as well as the friendly foreign navies came together. They demonstrated the precision, they demonstrated the naval power, and they also demonstrated the combat readiness. If you had seen in the fleet, we also saw INS Vikrant, and all the special capabilities and all the significance of INS Vikrant was explained in it. Now we bring to you INS Vikrant's AV in a short format.
This is my story, the story of India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, the story of my previous birth, the story of my role in the 1971 war, the story of my impending rebirth. I am Vikrant, one of the boldest steps in the nation's dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Christened as Hercules, I remained unfinished and half-constructed till India purchased me from Britain in 1957. On 4th March 1961, I was commissioned and placed under the command of then Captain and later Rear Admiral Preetam Singh Mahendru. My motto, Jayem Sam Yudhi Sprada, is taken from Rigveda. It means we win over those who dare to fight. My sons decimated the enemy in the 1971 war as Seahawks and Alizés pounded the enemy targets over Chittagong, Cox's Bazar and Khulna. With my brothers in arms, I prevented reinforcement of Pakistani forces from the sea, leading to the birth of Bangladesh. My sons were awarded 2 Mahavir Chakras and 12 Veer Chakras for their role in the war. I emerged in a new avatar as a V-stall carrier in 1984 with the brand new state-of-the-art aircraft, the Sea Harrier. My new capability inspired the induction of Vikramaditya and the plans for my reincarnation. After serving for 36 years, I bowed out of active service on 31st January 1997. The plans for my construction at Cochin Shipyard Limited were approved by the Cabinet Committee on Security in the year 2002. The commencement of steel cutting in 2005 at CSL was a proud moment for me. My keel was laid in 2009 and I became the first Indian warship whose entire hull was made of steel made in India. I was formally launched on 12th of August 2013 as Vikrant.
The new indigenously built aircraft carrier Vikrant goes to sea for the sea trials. I would like to wish her all the very best.
I sailed proudly out of Kochi Channel on 4th August 2021, watched by millions of my proud countrymen and women. After a few tentative steps, I soon started gaining speed and became the first Indian warship to achieve full power on the first sea sortie. My chest swelled with pride as I welcomed my birds back on my deck. With their swirling rotors, and proudly heard them call me Mother once again. Soon, my deck will reverberate with the roar of jet engines and thump of fighter aircraft taking off and landing on my deck. I am poised to be born again, embodying the spirit of the new India. More than 40,000 jobs were created during my construction. Around 2,000 workers work daily in more than 100 MSMEs. Some of them, in fact, took birth as part of Startup India. Once commissioned, I shall become the Indian naval ship Vikrant once again. I shall be an unparalleled military instrument with my ability to project air power across the Indian Ocean and beyond. I am sure I will be able to inspire our country to construct more of my sisters to help India manifest her destiny as one of the formidable maritime powers of the world. I shall rise again with the ensign on my main, as great ships never die. They are reincarnated.
So as we had mentioned earlier that we are also joined by the Additional Director of the Maritime History Society, Commodore M. Dorai Babu. We will also speak about how the ENC has the significance here, how ENC over here is, so we'll directly come to you. We were talking about the Vizag Harbour, we were talking about the natural formation of the harbour. We are also wanting to know about the ENC over here, the presence, how it is convenient for the ENC as well, for Vishakapatnam.
Thank you, Shoma, and welcome back all viewers to the studio. The military history of the city is fascinating, to say the least. As I had earlier mentioned, the British were here since about 1765, and thereafter the harbour was modernized in a way in 1933. A small naval base was then established by the British called Sarkars, taking a cue from the Mughal subdivision of their kingdom. As a formal entity, HMIS Sarkars was commissioned in April 1942, and post-independence, the prefix Her Majesty's Indian Ship was dropped and the unit became INS Sarkars, Indian Naval Ship Sarkars, that continues to be the backbone to ENC.
Okay.
The city played an important role in World War II,
Okay.
since it was an assembly point for British convoys, as much as Vizag was a selected target for Japanese attacks and was thus strengthened. Then after independence, the Indian Navy primarily operated from Bombay, that is present-day Mumbai. The India-China War of 1962 happened and quickly followed by the India-Pakistan War of 65.
Okay.
The Indian militaries had to be modernized and strengthened for the defense of the nation.
Right.
The 60s was the time when Russian ships and submarines started coming to India. With this, the modern element came for their maintenance and basing, and the naval dockyard was expanded in 1962. And then in 1968, the Eastern Naval Command was formally established in Vizag. In 71, the powerful Eastern Fleet, also known as the Sunrise Fleet, was formed and immediately took part in the 1971 India-Pakistan War and performed brilliantly on the East Coast. But those stories at a different time, since the Eastern Naval Command has moved from power to power and is home to some of the latest and most powerful warships of the Indian Navy.
Okay. We were seeing these this fleet and the displays, magnificent display. Is there a procedure why these warships, submarines were on display today? What are they showcasing? How are they showcasing India's prowess?
So to keep it very short, it is to showcase the might and reach of navies. If a warship can reach a place, it shows others can follow.
Okay.
Since we have become a builder's navy, we want to show the world our indigenously built ships.
Right.
Like for example, you have discussed Vikrant, Vishakapatnam. Then you have the Delhi class, the new Nilgiri class, the Shivaliks of the ENC. Then we also bring in our latest ships, which have multi-role capabilities like Anvesh, Nistar, the Arnala shallow water ASW ships, and the latest survey ship, Ikshak. And then we showcase some special ships like Tarangini, which is a sail ship, and we have the Madei and Tarini, which have circumnavigated the globe. And since this is a maritime domain event, other maritime forces such as the Coast Guard, the Shipping Corporation of India, research vessels of the government are also showcased. We have the Samarth class pollution control ships. We have Sagar Anveshika from the National Institute of Ocean Technology. We have the Shipping Corporation of India Saraswati, an offshore support vessel. There are also submarines which we saw, our underwater strength, the aircraft of various types, which shows the three-dimensional force that the Indian Navy is. We show our best to the world, and similarly foreign navies send their most capable ships to the IFR.
So as you were mentioning these names, Vikrant, Nilgiri, all these have been taken a rebirth, reincarnation. So the name never dies, a name in Navy never dies. What is the story behind this?
Well, it's a naval tradition across all navies followed from centuries that the name of a ship never fades away. One time or the other, names are repeated.
Okay.
For example, INS Delhi was always there even pre-independence as HMIS Delhi. Or the later ships, Nilgiri had said our first indigenous warship construction in 76, Udaygiri, Himgiri, and even Vikrant, which we showed. The crest and the name is always carried forward as a legacy.
Right. When we are talking about legacy, you know, in the early century, early times, it was India that had the navigational instruments, and then the world took over. World took it and, you know, maybe modified it according to their needs. What is the legacy behind the navigational instruments that we had at that time?
As mentioned earlier, India was a prominent and powerful maritime nation. You become maritime when you cross the oceans, you leave sight of land.
So we are getting visuals, we are seeing the visuals where 21 gun salute is happening. We'll go to the jetty. So we saw today 71 ships, which also included the warships and other vessels over here in this spectacular fleet, and a grand display both from India and the friendly foreign nations. This definitely showcases how the naval powers across the globe have progressed and they've come together. The partnership has strengthened. जिस तरीके से हम आपको पहले भी बता रहे थे कि 71 शिप्स यहाँ पर होंगी, इनके अलावा हमने सबमरीन्स भी देखे, एक एयरक्राफ्ट का बहुत अद्भुत यहाँ पर एक वेल कोऑर्डिनेटेड प्रोग्राम देखा, शो देखा। ये सारा दर्शाता है कि किस तरीके से भारतीय नौसेना, और ना सिर्फ भारतीय नौसेना बल्कि भारतीय नौसेना अन्य देशों के, मित्र देश के नौसेना के साथ में भी किस तरीके से तालमेल बनाकर एक काम कर सकती है, एक तरीके से वेल कोऑर्डिनेटेड एक प्रोग्राम अंडरटेक कर सकती है। यहाँ पर हमने ये एक अद्भुत नज़ारा देखा, और जिस तरीके से हम कह रहे हैं कि ये भारत में तीसरी बार इंटरनेशनल फ्लीट रिव्यू हो रहा है, काफ़ी ग्रैंड स्केल पे हुआ है ये। और जो शिप्स जिस तरीके से यहाँ पर 6 लेन्स में लगी हुई थी, जब शिप INS सुमेधा बीच में से जाती हैं, दोनों तरफ में दाएं और बाएं तरफ में हमने देखा कि सेरेमोनियल तरीके से, सेरेमोनियल लेन्स कहते हैं इन्हें, उनमें बहुत अच्छी तरीके से इन्हें एंकर किया गया था। और हर शिप छोटी हो या बड़ी हो, वो अपनी जो सिग्निफिकेंस है या अपनी इम्पोर्टेंस है वो उन्होंने, साथ ही में हमने कमेंट्री में भी सुनी कि वो प्रदर्शित की। और बहुत खूबसूरती से इन्हें एक डेकअप भी किया गया था। ये अपने सेरेमोनियल डेकअप हुए थे ये सारे शिप्स, ना सिर्फ भारतीय नौसेना के शिप्स बल्कि जो विभिन्न अन्य देशों से आए हुए हैं उनके भी अगर आप शिप्स आपने देखे होंगे तो काफ़ी अच्छे उन्हें डेकअप किए गए थे। और ये पूरे सेरेमोनियल इवेंट्स के लिए डेकअप होते हैं और एक तरीके से सम्मान दिया जाता है जो भी देश में वो आ रहे हैं उन्हें। एक ही इंटरेस्टिंग बात यहाँ पर ये भी है कि अगर भारत का भी कोई यहाँ पर, भारतीय नौसेना की भी कोई शिप अगर जाती है, ऐसे कोई इवेंट में पार्टिसिपेट करती है, तो वो भी वैसा ही प्रदर्शन, डेकअप होके प्रदर्शन करते हैं। एक तरह से ये एक दूसरे के देश को सम्मान देने की एक ये प्रक्रिया है। हमने सर से, दोराई बाबू सर से पहले भी बात की थी कि 150 मेन का जो ये सल्यूट होता, 21 गन्स का सल्यूट होता है या 150 मेन गार्ड जो यहाँ पर होता है, ये भी इसके पीछे बहुत अद्भुत एक हिस्ट्री है और एक काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग हिस्ट्री है। 21 गन सल्यूट हम ऑलरेडी देख चुके हैं जब माननीय राष्ट्रपति ऑन बोर्ड जा रही थी INS सुमेधा के, जो कि आज के लिए प्रेसिडेंशियल यॉट थी। उस पर जाते समय माननीय राष्ट्रपति को 21 गन सैल्यूट तो जब कास्ट अवे हुआ तब मिला ही, उसके पहले में माननीय राष्ट्रपति वहां पर आई और उन्होंने 150 मेन गार्ड का भी एक तरीके से निरीक्षण किया। तो काफ़ी ग्रैंड स्केल पर हम कह सकते हैं कि ये जो फ्लीट रिव्यू हुआ है वो आज हुआ है, संपन्न हुआ है, काफ़ी भव्य स्केल पे संपन्न हुआ है। और जैसे सर पहले भी बता रहे थे कि 19 यहाँ पर वेसल्स आए हुए हैं और कई सारे अन्य देशों के रिप्रेजेंटेशन यहाँ पर हैं। तो ना सिर्फ वेसल्स की ओर से, ना सिर्फ वॉरशिप्स के एक तरीके से, बल्कि पार्टिसिपेशन भी यहाँ पर काफ़ी ज़्यादा मायने रखती हैं। और जो ह्यूमन पार्टिसिपेशन है वो भी यहाँ पर हमने काफ़ी देखा है। यहाँ पर लगभग कह सकते हैं कि जो 70 देश हैं वो यहाँ पर पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं। साथ ही जिस तरीके से जब INS सुमेधा बाहर जा रही थी, पोर्ट से निकल रही थी सीज की तरफ में जहाँ पर फ्लीट हो रहा था, फ्लीट रिव्यू होने वाला था, हमने विशाखापट्टनम की भी काफ़ी सारी विशेषताएं देखी। और विशेषताओं में हमने पहले भी बात की कि रॉस हिल जो है वो अपने आप में एक अद्भुत एग्जाम्पल है इंक्लूसिविटी का। साथ ही हमने ये भी देखा कि हिंदुस्तान शिपयार्ड लिमिटेड है जो कई दशकों से भारतीय नौसेना के लिए या भारत के लिए एक इंडिजीनियस शिप बिल्डिंग का काम कर रहा है। और काफ़ी सारे अद्भुत यहाँ पर हम नज़ारे भी देख रहे थे। हमने जाते समय में यहाँ पर पोर्ट का भी नज़ारा देखा जहाँ पर जो मर्चेंट नेवी जो होते हैं, उनके कार्गोज होते हैं, वो सारे भी जो उतरते हैं, बंदरगाह कहते हैं हम वो सारे नज़ारे भी हमने यहाँ पर देखे। अब हम ये जो विजुअल्स हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं जेटी पे से, नेवल जेटी पे से, यहाँ पर हम रुके हुए हैं कि माननीय राष्ट्रपति डी बोर्ड होंगे, ऑन बोर्ड से जो INS सुमेधा है प्रेसिडेंशियल यॉट वहाँ से उतरेंगी और वो एक बार फिर ये जो 150 मैन गार्ड हैं वहाँ से जाते हुए वेन्यू है जो नेवल जेटी है वहाँ से वो प्रस्थान करेंगी। तो जो तैयारियां होती है कि एक बार शिप लग जाए नेवल जेटी पर और उसका जो उतरने की व्यवस्था होती है वो सारा अभी हम देख रहे हैं कि वो यहाँ पर हो रहा है। लेकिन काफ़ी बड़ा यहाँ पर ये इवेंट रहा, लार्ज स्केल पर रहा और 71 शिप्स की जब हम बात कर रहे हैं तो इसमें से काफ़ी सारे ऐसे शिप्स हैं जो कि भारत के जो इंडिजिनाइजेशन आत्मनिर्भरता की जब हम बात कर रहे हैं उस पर काफ़ी एक बड़ा एग्जाम्पल सेट करते हुए उन्होंने अपने आप को प्रदर्शित किया है। इसमें से मुख्यतः अगर हम बात करें तो INS विक्रांत के बारे में आपने सुना ही किस तरीके से उसमें जो इंडिजिनाइजेशन का कंटेंट है वो काफ़ी बड़ा रहा है। विशाखापट्टनम सिटी की तो हम बात कर ही रहे हैं लेकिन यहाँ पर फ्रंट लाइन डिस्प्ले में अगर हम बात करें तो सिग्निफिकेंटली यहाँ पर INS विशाखापट्टनम भी डिस्प्ले पे थी और विशाखापट्टनम INS विशाखापट्टनम जो है वो भी इंडिजिनाइजेशन यानी विशाखापट्टनम क्लास की जो शुरुआत हुई है उसके उसमें इंडिजिनाइजेशन का एक तरीके से फ्लैग बेरर है और यहाँ भी जो कंटेंट है इंडिजिनाइजेशन का वो काफी बड़ा है। तो जहां पे हम बात करते थे कि हम शिप्स ले रहे हैं दूसरे देशों से खरीदते थे, आज हम अपने शिप्स खुद घर पर बना रहे हैं। बिल्डर्स नेवी हम कहलाते हैं और हम सिर्फ बनाते नहीं हैं, हम बल्कि दूसरे फ्रेंडली नेशंस जो हैं उनको शिप्स देते भी हैं। दूसरे नेवीज जो हैं दूसरे देश जो हैं वो शिप्स हमसे खरीदते भी हैं और हम फ्रेंडली तौर पर देते भी हैं। तो जो समय था जब हम शिप्स ले रहे थे खरीद रहे थे से आज की अगर हम बात करें तो आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर हम काफ़ी ज़्यादा बढ़े हैं और बहुत जल्द जो ये इंडिजिनाइजेशन कंटेंट है क्योंकि अभी हम देख रहे हैं ये 75-76% पर है, बहुत जल्द ये जो कंटेंट है परसेंटेज है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा और हम प्राप्त कर पाएंगे, अचीव भी कर पाएंगे। और इसमें ना सिर्फ हम जो हल की बात कर रहे हैं, कील की बात कर रहे हैं, बल्कि हम टेक्नोलॉजी की भी बात कर रहे हैं, वो सारा भी भारत बहुत जल्द अपने आप में बना पाएगा और इस तरफ आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर हम अग्रसर हैं। अब आप देखें तो माननीय राष्ट्रपति INS सुमेधा से बाहर उतर रही हैं। The Honorable President of India is now departing the naval jetty after reviewing the International Fleet Review 2026. As we mentioned earlier, India is witnessing a historic maritime convergence with three major naval events happening here in Vishakapatnam: the International Fleet Review, the exercise Milan, and also the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium Conclave of Chiefs 2026. The Governor of Andhra Pradesh is also leaving now. As you can see, the dignitaries are coming down from INS Sumedha, which served as the presidential yacht for International Fleet Review 2026. As he leaves, Justice Abdul Nazir, the Governor of Andhra Pradesh, is having an interaction with CNS. With them is also CNC, Eastern Naval Command. The Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu, is also now with the Governor, CNS and CNC. All of them expressing their delight after the International Fleet Review. With that grand review of sails and steel, we now conclude this special broadcast of Doordarshan on the International Fleet Review. Now, as these fleets disperse to their respective shores, they carry with themselves a shared resolve to safeguard sea lanes, strengthen partnerships, and ensure peace and stability in the maritime domain. We also thank M. Dorai Babu, Nausena Medal Gallantry, for joining us offline. He is the Additional Director of Maritime History Society. With that, we thank our viewers for joining us on this special broadcast. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.
Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sunset TV. I am Tina Jha, you're watching Perspective. New Delhi has become the nerve center of a crucial global conversation this week as policymakers, technologists, industry leaders and civil society voices gather for the India AI Impact Summit, the first global AI summit of its kind to be hosted in the Global South. So this is not just another technology conference, it is an attempt to reframe the global AI debate. Around the world, the AI conversation often revolves around existential risk, job disruption, and geopolitical competition. Important concerns? Yes. But here in India, the focus has shifted, and perhaps in a more urgent direction. So instead of asking how powerful can AI become and will AI take away jobs, India is asking, who does AI serve? Instead of concentrating only on safety frameworks or competitive advantage, the discussion here at the AI Impact Summit is focused on the politics of impact. So who benefits, who is left out, who sets the rules? And how do we ensure that AI becomes a force for public good, not just a privilege born of technological advancement. From healthcare to agriculture, from education to governance, from climate action to financial inclusion, the message emerging from the India AI Impact Summit is clear. Artificial intelligence must be democratized. It cannot remain the preserve of a few corporations or a handful of countries. It must be accessible, accountable, inclusive, designed for people. India's digital public infrastructure has already shown how technology can operate at mass scale. Now the ambition is much bigger, to move from digital inclusion to AI inclusion. So what does democratization of AI mean? Is it only about access to data or affordable computing power, open models, or AI in local languages? Or is it about something deeper, which includes participatory governance and giving citizens a voice in shaping the technology that will shape their futures? To explore some of these aspects, we are joined by two distinguished experts today who've been part of key sessions at the India AI Impact Summit. They've engaged with global and domestic stakeholders as well. They now join us to share their insights and reflections. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome on this edition of Perspective Dr. Utpal Chakrabarti. He is an eminent AI and quantum scientist. He's also founder and chief scientist, Gehna AI Lab. It is India's first sovereign AI model for cybersecurity. Professor Chakrabarti, thank you for joining us on the program. Welcome to Sunset TV. I'm also delighted to welcome Dr. Siddharth Pawar. He's founder, NeuroDX.ai. A deep tech firm, NeuroDX, has created a 400 million parameter AI brain language model called Manas-1 to decode human brain electrical activity. Dr. Pawar, glad to have you with us on this telecast as well. Welcome to the program. Let me in fact begin with you. You've been part of key sessions at the Impact Summit, which is currently underway in Delhi. Give us and our viewers a sense of how the summit has been going on, and most importantly, how successful has India been in shifting that conversation from AI risk, AI competitive advantage to now talking about AI for all, which is all inclusive.
Yeah, that's actually a wonderful question to start off with. So anybody who goes to the summit can see the excitement that there is among the young Indian population. I would be surprised to see that excitement, for example, in San Francisco. You won't see that many people in any other place. I'm quite sure of that. Mm-hmm. So it's very clear that the Indians are able to see their destiny being firmly linked with this technology, and they're very excited. I personally believe Indians are not very suspicious of AI as some of our Western counterparts. So they are taking this change in a very positive and an optimistic light. So the summit has been a reflection of that. On to the second question, the focus has to be on. I mean, there is enough doomsayers around the world, and I think. The West has probably more to worry about than India because their systems are very finely tuned, and the disruptions that might happen. And of course, when a technology moves as rapidly as this is going to move, disruptions are logical. They have to happen. But India is at a place where these disruptions can actually just, if the policymakers and of course people come together, it's going to lift us up instead of push us back. So. Democratization of AI is something that, as in your opening statement you just said, India has a track record of delivering services in a way where everybody is catered. We are not a society, or we are not an economy which is market driven, which is not something that companies have to enable for it to be adopted. We have mechanisms in this country and a track record and a political, social kind of ethos in the country where we have an understanding that things have to be for a greater good. And so that mindset, I think, which at times is criticized, is going to serve us very well, I believe. And I even spoke about this with the Prime Minister when we had the great fortune of speaking with him recently. And this is exactly the point I made to him. We have had COVID and how we delivered vaccines. And so there is nothing for us to fear, honestly. And even on other aspects where things that will be lost in terms of jobs, there are many more avenues that I can easily see coming up. So it's only something that we should be looking forward to.
That's right. In fact, Dr. Chakrabarti, I recall the Prime Minister often framing AI as saying India having the double advantage. So it's artificial intelligence, it's all inclusive. And we've already seen welfare measures, the policy measures that this government has undertaken, aiming at that direction. It's all inclusive and ensuring that we are reaching the last person standing in the line. How do you reflect on the response to the AI Impact Summit? And second part of the question is, how impactful do you think India has been in shifting that global narrative to talk about AI, which is inclusive for all? So it also takes forward our vision of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. So it's the benefit that we're not only talking about the Indians, we are talking about Global South. That's been pitched very, very prominently in this summit as well, that it's the first of its kind AI gathering which is being hosted in the Global South.
Yeah, absolutely. I think not only in Global South, I think probably it is one of the biggest summit in the world. Right. So if you look at the footfalls, if you look at the number of companies that are joining, the startups are showcasing the new applications. So yeah, definitely. Now coming to the masses that we are trying to give it to the world is definitely India is a big market for the world, all of us. So we have been the market for the AI startups, AI companies across the globe. But at the same time, this time what we are showcasing is basically that the impact that Indian companies will also be able to bring it to our country, our society, our different sectors, as well as to the global market and the global society. So that is the message that is being going from the thought leaders, from the government side, from the leaders that are coming here. Now this summit is a little bit different from all other summits that we have been hosting earlier as well, because here we are not talking about any kind of POCs, proof of concepts, or any pilots. What we are talking about is impactful applications. Okay, what are the applications and what are the actual real impact of those applications into our society or into our different sectors? So that's a very big message. I think no other summit in the world is giving that kind of a message to the world where, hey, use AI, of course use AI responsibly, ethically, but at the same time, I think the measure of your adoption will be measured in terms of what kind of impact that you are bringing to the society or to your nation, to the humanity at large. So I think this is something very, very unique. And you talked about the policy and other things. I think India as a country, although many people says we are a little bit slow in terms of adoption, in terms of this thing, but from a policy standpoint, I think our policy is going to override the policies of the world. Because if you see Europe, right, so their policies are very, very stringent, right? And that probably is going to hinder the implementation or the revolution that AI is bringing, right? Because AI as a technology, it requires some level of access to your information, to do personalization, to do the best thing that it can do for you, right? So now the policies that India is making, I think this is going to override all other policies, and at a point will come wherein our policies will be copied by somebody, or at least will be taken by somebody.
That's right. We may be slow, but we ensure that our policies are sustainable and durable in the long run. Since you spoke about access, Dr. Pawar, let me bring you a question on healthcare, especially neuroscience in which you're operating. Access is often not just limited, but it's also expensive.
Yes.
How does people-centric AI framework change the way that deep tech innovation is built and deployed?
Yeah, so I think there is a lot to be done in terms of technology being used to make healthcare accessible, which essentially makes it people-centric, while at the same time being relevant not just to those who are in particular need of it, but globally, I mean, the technology, the kind of technology, for example, I am building, it's meant to serve people at the front lines. It's meant to serve in a way where it's inexpensive, it's affordable, it doesn't require a lot of technical expertise, because it's unreasonable at times to hope that you'll have a radiologist or a specialist sitting somewhere in a remote corner of the country. Yet you need to be able to deliver basic health care in a way where things get escalated sufficiently where somebody can find the right kind of medical care. This requires technological innovation which the West frankly doesn't have any incentives to work on. And those innovations are firmly now enabled by the deep tech revolutions that is at our hands. And once they are enabled in India, there is no